सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome you all with my love and respects. Today's subject is seer, seen and seeing. One important truth is all three are lies. There is no seer, there is no seen, there is no seeing. Understand this truth, seen, seer, seen. Any religion which declared there is no seen is introvert religion. The groups which started declaring there is no seen, religions. The group which has started declaring there is no seer, materialist. The groups which have started declaring there is no seeing, Sunyavadis, Buddhists. But the groups which has realized there is no seen, seer, seeing is ultimate Vedantis. People who experience the truth as it is, radiating enlightenment. Patanjali, in his own inimitable style, explains this deeper secrets of seen, seer and seeing. I want all of you to know one information about Patanjali. Yesterday I was talking about Raghupati Yogi. He is one Amsa of Patanjali. He is an Amsavatara of Patanjali. Means one part of Patanjali itself took birth as Raghupati Yogi. Yesterday whole night I was in the consciousness of Patanjali. Today morning also I was just spending little time on reading some historical facts of his life. He has written one of the most comprehensive commentary on the Sanskrit grammar. Panini's Sutras, on Panini's Sutras. Patanjali has written a commentary. It's called Mahabhashya. You will be shocked if you see the dictionary. It is a dictionary and grammar work, grammar book. See, for one word, those days, in different parts of the country, they have given different meaning for one Sanskrit word. Sometimes it is like a 300 different meanings. This Patanjali, how he had the access to each community's meaning for each word. If you analyze the Mahabhashya, it proves he has studied at least 316 communities. 316 communities he has studied, and each Sanskrit word, for example, go, just this one word. He gives a complete understanding of this word in 316 communities. And his extra explanation. I am still not able to grasp that some human being can go to each community and study how they use these different words in different meaning and collect 316 community material in one place and create a comprehensive grammar work. Even if we take it like he had disciples from all 316 community and he worked with them and understood all the meanings of different word and had a great discussion and came up with his understanding, and presently even that doesn't seem to be logically possible at all. I am not able to conceive, imagine how this genius, master created this Mahabhashya. It's an extraordinary work. Maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow I'll read just few lines from his work and give you guys just the taste of his work. I just wanted you to have an idea about the brain from which these sutras came out. So you will spend a lot of time and energy and intensity contemplating on these sutras. He has written 3 books. I can say only 3 books are available, whatever he wrote. All other things are lost. 1, Ayurveda, for body, science of life. 2nd, Panini Mahabhashya, means commentary on Panini Sutras. See, Panini is a great rishi who heard the Damaru sound of Shiva. And when he heard the Damaru sound, he heard 7 sounds. All the 7 sounds hit his inner space. When it hit, what sound it created? When it went out, what sound it created? With the 2, he created 14 sutras. That's all is the base for the whole Sanskrit language. That's all. See, Shiva played his Damaru and the sound hit Panini, and when the sound hit him on each chakra, how it came in, when it went out, how it went out. That's all. So 7 plus 2, 7 into 2, 14 formulas he wrote. That's all is the whole base for all languages. Forget about Sanskrit, all languages. All possible sound, all possible meaning, all possible conversation, all possible communication is included in that 14 sutras. Not because I am an Indian or from the Vedic tradition. I am telling you honestly, I have done enough research. Still, I can say non-controversial way, Sanskrit is the mother of all languages, root of all languages. Communication started with Sanskrit. These sutras, these 14 sutras on which Patanjali wrote commentary, made a base grammar book, grammar literature. Still, See, if you want to write a dictionary for English, you need to study all country slang of that language. UK English, Indian English, American English and all that. Then compile a dictionary. And now we have so much communication, internet, all possibilities. What did we do? How the whole communication happened? From where he collected all the information, whatever was being used in different communities, and how he put the whole thing together. He wrote Panini Mahabhashya. This is the second book for Vak. And third book he wrote, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, for being. One for body, one for Vak, one for being. 3 books he wrote. I want you to understand the strength and power from which these sutras came out. Unimaginable personality. If you read his dictionary, means his commentary, grammar on the Sanskrit grammar, you will understand what kind of a brain he is. I really suspected it may be group of disciples wrote and commonly titled as Patanjali. Maybe they wanted to put a common name for the whole book. It's more like a title of some group of people, a community name, not individual's name. But I could not even accept that idea because of the continuity of the language. The language is surely from one person, from first line to last line. There is no break, there is no disturbance in the language. It is such a flow, especially when you write rules for grammars and all. Even if 2 persons are editing, you will see the disturbance. In linguistic lines, why in linguistic? Any intellectual line, people cannot match. If they match, someone's ego is compromised. It's impossible. So always there will be subtle signature of each author. But here you are seeing such a synchronized presentation. Nobody's signature is there loud, saying, here I am, come on, look at this subject, this chapter, written specially by the Patanjali number 1 or Patanjali number 17. No. There is no loudness. It's such flow. Still unimaginable. Brain, extraordinary genius. So his opinion on this philosophy of seeing, seer, seeing, he is giving in this sutra. See, this philosophy itself is not something new. We would have discussed many times. Krishna talks about it, Buddha talks about it, Mahavira talks about it, Jesus talks about it, Shiva talks about it, Shankara founded his whole system on this. If you go to Varanasi, any Tom, Dick and Harry will be talking about it. Really. Whole Varanasi is standing on this word, this philosophy of seeing, seer and the seeing. Because the whole India is built on this one truth, seeing and seer. See, just like if you see the Western countries, their skyscrapers are their pride. For each skyscraper, huge community has spent its whole time and energy and life for one skyscraper to stand in every city. So that is the pride of those countries and cities. In India, if you look internally, each city is filled with millions of skyscrapers of this philosophy. For this each philosophy, see, just like, for example, Empire State Building. For that building to stand, thousands of people should have done research on the architecture, steel structure, building structure. Thousands should have studied about the cement. Thousands should have studied about electrification. So such a huge community's life and energy is dedicated, and that Empire State Building is standing as a pride. Same way, in India, each spiritual scripture is a pride won on Empire State Building of India. If you just look consciously, I can see Varanasi has millions of Empire State Buildings, conscious Empire State Buildings. The whole community is dedicated for one philosophy. I have seen one Swami in Ramakrishna Mat, Belur Mat, their headquarters. I have seen a Swami who has spent 35 years just studying Kathopanishad. Nothing else. He has collected some 200 different commentaries of Kathopanishad. He has analyzed thoroughly, and he has advised and guided at least 2,000 people to get PhD on Kathopanishad. Master in Kathopanishad, internationally. He is an Empire State Building of Indian tradition. Each community has dedicated for one idea, one spiritual book. So if you look India, we are the internal, extraordinary infrastructure. When I said, the whole Varanasi is built on this seeing, seen and seer theory, I was just casually joking, but it is not an easy thing to build a community on one truth. I can say each truth or each of these books are skyscrapers of the Indian civilization, the Ganges civilization. Because the amount of time and energy and genius, extraordinary intelligence need to go behind these inventions, and knowledge is unimaginable. I tell you, somehow if the world turns towards the life science of Vedic tradition, we will be the best possibility in the cosmos. Because the West has created an amazing infrastructure, and the Vedic civilization has gifted amazing inner infrastructure. If somehow this can become mainstream of that, over. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. I sincerely wish that is what is going to happen in 2012. All over the world, all predictions go on saying world is going to end by 2012, world is going to end by 2012, world is going to end by 2012. I Ching, the Chinese book, which talks about book of change. Mayan calendar, which has calculated 26,000 years, and this WebBot, which studies the collective unconsciousness and predicted even 9/11 terrorist attack and Katrina and all other major calamities in the world. Even WebBot says 2012 is the end of time. And all over the world, everything is pointing towards 2012 as end of time. Everybody is continuously asking, what is going to happen, Swamiji, what is going to happen? I am not predicting, please understand, I am not just predicting, I am telling you the straight away what is going to happen. First thing, there is no physical calamity as Hollywood movies show. There is no danger or physical calamity. As Hollywood movies are showing, huge tsunami and the ships landing on White House and LAX airport breaking. No, don't worry, there is no physical calamity. But the world is going to end in a different way. People living in the lower consciousness will end. A new consciousness will come to exist. The very idea of life you have will be different. Like after the communication revolution, the IT revolution, how the idea you have about life is different. I am the first incarnation sitting in one place and giving e-kalpataru all over the world. See, the idea of life is different now. I don't need to use extraordinary powers to appear and give kalpataru. Just simple video conferencing is enough. The idea of life has become suddenly different. That is exactly thing going to happen in 2012. Such a extraordinary conscious evolution will happen. The idea of life will become different. I'll speak later on in a detailed way how the evolution is going to happen, how we can use it for our enlightenment. Because 2012 is a huge subject and super hit subject. If I describe each philosophical truth of Ganges civilization as one skyscraper, I can be sure this seen, seer and the seeing, this truth is the Empire State Building. Or I can say tallest existing building. We also had some of the terrorist attacks where the Twin Towers have been destroyed. India also suffered terrorist attacks and many Twin Towers we built were destroyed. Means many scriptures got lost. I can say that is the Hindu Holocaust, untold to the world, untold story, Hindu Holocaust. Untold and will never be told, unfortunately. This seeing, seer, this truth is the available tallest skyscraper of Ganges civilization. Then understand the importance of this truth. And here it is being clearly expressed by the greatest architect, Patanjali. I am giving you the original plan of the tallest skyscraper from the best architect, so that you can know how to reach the top and experience the truth. Of course, now you don't even need the plan, you just fly and reach the top. When you have a master to initiate, you may not need a plan to go which floor, which lift, which way. Just fly and sit on the top. Let's enter into the sutra. It's such an important truth. I don't want to directly open it. The sutra is Drik Darshana Shaktyor Ekatmadev Asmita. Drik Darshana Saktyo Eka Atmata Aiva Asmita. I'll give you Swami Vivekananda's translation and Swami Prabhavananda's translation. Vivekananda translates as egoity is the identification of the seer with the instrument of seeing. Prabhavananda translates as to identify consciousness with that which merely reflects consciousness. This is egoism. Dvivedi very beautifully describes, the sense of being is the blending together of the power that knows with the instruments thereof. Sachidananda translates as, egoism is the identification, as it were, of the power of the seer with that of the instrument of seeing. Now I will try to explain what really Patanjali is trying to express. I am not saying Vivekananda is not expressing what Patanjali is expressing. The way in which they all translate, they are trying to use less number of words. So naturally only one aspect gets translated. Here I am trying to use lot of words. So almost all dimensions are translated. You catch the truth. You catch the experience. Drik Darshana Shaktyoho Eka Atmata Aiva Asmita. Egoity is the identification of the seer with the instrument of seeing. I'm just seeing the skyscraper. I'm just thinking which part I can start explaining. Can I explain about the grandeur of the electrification system, or the plumbing system, or the foundation of the building, or the height of the building, or how it feels when you stand top of the building. Maybe I'll first tell you how it feels when you stand top of that skyscraper. The truth is, the consciousness which sees, which perceives, when it identifies itself with the instrument with which it is perceiving, it is ego. For example, so many hours I am continuously talking through this mic. Whenever this mic is put in front of me, the sound is coming. So by and by, the mic started thinking it is talking, giving discourse. Or people start feeling the sound is coming from the mic. Constantly, the seer, because he is using an instrument for seeing, mistaking the instrument as himself, is ego. Please understand, your eyes are not seeing. You are seeing through the eyes. Egoism is the seer by mistake feeling the instrument through which he is seeing as himself. Patanjali is such a technical guy. About any subject you ask his opinion, he does not pass opinion, he gives solution. It's like a press guys going and asking, what is your opinion about it? What is your opinion about it? What is your opinion about it? The politicians gives a political view of that problem. Intellectuals give the intellectual view of that problem. Social leaders give social view of that problem. If you ask a person like Patanjali, he will just give solution, he will not give opinion. So I can see very clearly, the disciples asked him, Master, what is your opinion about this seen, seeing, seer truth? He is not passing opinion, he just gives solution. Straightforward, straight to the truth. He just says, seer identifying itself with the instrument with which he is seeing is ego. Means, because the seer is identifying with the instrument with which he is seeing, the seen, seeing, seer exists. Otherwise, all three will not exist. He is not saying, see, there are some people saying, seen exists, not the seer. They are materialist. Some saying, no, seer exists, not the seen. They are spiritualist. Some saying, no, neither seen nor the seer exists, only seeing exists. They belong to different philosophy. Some say, no, 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 neither seer exists nor seen exists, only neither the seer nor the seen, only seeing. That's what I say, some philosophies. There are some people who say, seen exists, seer exists, but seeing does not exist. Shunyavadis. So different opinions. But Patanjali is not passing his opinion, he is just giving solution. Don't waste time. He is straight away saying, don't waste time. One king saw a dream of he being chastened by the wild tiger, forest tiger. In the dream itself, he is running to his astrologer to find out the significance. See, the kings carry their kingdom even inside their dream. Masters don't bring their kingdom even when they have the kingdom. Understand? Kings carry their kingdom even into their dream. Masters don't bring their kingdom even in the waking state, even if they have. That is why when it is taken away from them, they are not bothered. Because they never had it. They never owned it. They never possessed it. So there is no problem. It's a very beautiful thing. That guy is running to his astrologer to find out the significance of this wild dream. He goes to astrologer. Astrologer gives a great philosophical explanation. He is not completely satisfied. He goes for second opinion. Then he goes for Vastu consultant. That guy says you break this corner of the palace and that corner of the palace and this corner of the palace. If you listen to that Vastu consultant and break all the corners, wild tiger will come to the palace itself. You don't even need to go to the forest to chase you. Then that guy goes to gemology consultant in the dream itself. What kind of gem I should wear? Because I had this kind of dream. So each consultant is giving his own opinion. He goes to the enlightened master, Rajaguru. He just slaps him and says, wake up, that's all. That's a solution. Patanjali is a Rajaguru. You go to a materialist and ask, please tell me what is seen, seer and seeing. They will say, listen here, seen is the only truth. There is no seer and seeing. Don't believe these religious guys. Enjoy the scene. Charvakas. Even if you take loan, drink ghee and enjoy life. If you go to a religious leader, he will say, no, escape to Himalayas. Seen is not true. The seer is the only truth. So don't waste your time. His opinion. So each one is giving opinions. Patanjali is the guy, just slap, wake up. This line, Drik Darshana Shaktayor Ekatma Tevasmita, is just wake up. Nothing else. Wake up. Drik Darshana Shaktayo Ekatmati Vasmita. Egoity is the identification of the seer with the instrument of seeing. Do not bother about the seen, seer and seeing. Just see where that you who is perceiving everything starts feeling the instrument with which you are perceiving everything as one. Your eyes are not seeing. You are seeing through the eyes. But slowly you forget your eyes and start thinking your eyes are seeing. When do you slip into the idea that your eyes are seeing instead of you seeing through the eyes? Look into that, that's all. Understand? When do you experience that instead of the truth you are seeing through the eyes, instead of that truth, when you start feeling your eyes are seeing? When that unconscious slip happens, that slip is ego. This is the technical knowledge you need to have. If you sit with the awareness, even this moment, I am seeing through these two instruments. Suddenly, you are different, your attention is different, your energy is different. You just have an energy shift. Yes. I am seeing through these two instruments. Sit with that one idea. You will just see different thing in your understanding about you. Wow, right. But if you slip from that and feel, I am seeing, that is ego. This moment you can see the difference. I am seeing through these eyes. It's a truth. If you forget, I am seeing, then ego. That's all. I don't want to confuse you with a lot of words. I just want you to have the technical information. Maybe I can add one more statement for inspiration. How it feels when you stand on the skyscraper and see. Means on the top of this truth, if you are standing and looking, how it feels. When you stand on the top of the skyscraper, means experiencing this truth. When you see, nothing is seen. That's all. Nothing is seen. I tell you, I am not seeing you all. For example, if any one of you sit in this seat and see, what you will see, I am not seeing. Then what am I seeing? Is today's cone. Alright, I won't teach you guys much. I'll give you the difference between if you sit in this throne and see what you are seeing and now what I am seeing. I'll give you the difference. It's like if you sit in this throne and see, it's like in a projector screen, one person sitting and watching a movie. In my case, I understand both are in same movie. If you sit and see from here, what you see is a person sitting in a screen, a person is sitting, that is you, and you are seeing a movie. That person is sitting is you, and the movie you are seeing is this scene. What I am seeing is you and the movie both are in same screen. That is what I am seeing. So try to catch. I can give only this much of clarity with words. It's like when you sit here and see, you will be there, you will see people sitting. These two scenes. But when I am sitting here and seeing, I am seeing both scenes as one scene. This sitting and seeing through this two, this all. The whole thing is in one frame. That is the difference. When you see, you are one frame and the scene is one frame. When I am seeing, the seer and the scene is in the same frame, so there is no act of seeing happening. Seer and the scene is in the same frame, so there is no act of seeing happening. When the seer and the scene are two different frames, seeing happens. When the seer and scene are in the same frame, there is no seeing. Then what Swamiji is seeing? If you just sit with it, this chaotic logic will awaken your inner space. That is what we call Vijnanamaya Kosha Bedana. In Sanskrit we call Vijnanamaya Kosha Bedana, means penetrating your logical, sense-making, egocentric ideas and opening the seer to the scene directly without your logical, sense-making, superficial censoring logic. Vijnanamaya Kosha Vedana. Gurdjieff, George Gurdjieff was a great, successful master in giving enlightenment to people by breaking the Vijnanamaya Kosha. He will drink 20 wine bottles, walk on the tightrope upside down with the hand, really. He will swallow 20 wine bottles, complete full, and walk on the tightrope, not even on the leg, through the leg, by the hand. And one side, if you see his face, he will be expressing strong, fiery anger. The other side, deep, friendly compassion. Means completely the Vijnanamaya kosha has been broken. The Vijnanamaya kosha Vedana has happened. Means a logical perception, an idea of ordinary seeing is completely different in him, has broken. He just can play with that ideas of seen, seer and seeing. He can show any scene to any people. And his body was so much under his control, he can just shake the idea of people seen, seeing and seer. See, knowingly or unknowingly, fortunately or unfortunately, extraordinary powerful beings land on planet Earth time to time. They land, you don't know the reason. But the place where they land makes a major important decision of how that energy is going to help or disturb the human society. If their landing place is filled with the spiritual ideas, that being just picks up all the great spiritual truths and gives life to that. Then he becomes ultimate blessing. He is called God, incarnation, divine. Sometimes, unfortunately, some powerful beings land in the wrong areas where the spiritual truths are not so strong and political ideas are very strongly available in the air. So that energy gets contaminated by the political ideas and starts giving power to those ideas. So the place where that energy lands plays a major role on the philosophy to which that energy is going to give life and the good or bad it is going to bring for the human society. George Gurdjieff is one of the rare energy landed in a place which is not really conducive, but did not take a wrong turn, took a right turn and contributed to planet Earth in the spiritual field. That is why I say is a very rare incarnation. I have read some of his books. The moment I read his books, the connection which happens with him, God. Such a juicy, colorful guy. Kept all possible scandals around him, alive. Till death and after death. It's not easy joke to keep scandals alive. You need guts. And this guy, such a strong guy, but I can say at least few hundred people became enlightened by him. All masters are living scandals as long as they are living in the body. Their joy and their existence is such a extraordinary happening beyond the comprehension of ordinary conditioned societal mind. It goes on creating and cherishing scandals. Anything extraordinary attracts attention. Anything which people can't understand creates scandal. So either you should be just extraordinary or just ununderstanding. If you are just ununderstanding, you are a mystery, nobody will bother. You are not attracting attention. If you are just extraordinary, you will attract attention. You will not be an ununderstandable, means scandalous. Possibility of scandal does not exist in you. But masters are both together in its peak possibility. Extraordinary and ununderstandable. So naturally they attract unimaginable attention and ununderstandable scandals. Even many people who are honest, seekers of truth have started suspecting some of the news written by the media about me, because there are some of the ununderstandable things. How could a 33-year-old man create such a huge spiritual organization in 8 years? Ununderstandable. So any explanation given by a logical, ordinary mind is accepted by other logical, ordinary minds. How can you define thousands of educated youngsters giving up life and living around this one man? And every day the list is getting added. And it is getting added. Extraordinary. So attention also is attracted. Ununderstandable. So any normal mind gives any interpretation is accepted by common man. Yes, this may be true, who knows? That is the reason for scandals. So the essence, the technical information you need to know about this sutra is, when you slip from the great truth that you are, the seer is seeing through the instruments, and identify yourself with the instruments, the ego happens, the three things like a seer, seen and seeing happens, which is base and root for all ignorance and suffering. All you need to do now is I'll give you the solution. The process now, which you need to do. Tatata means easiness. Understand? Who is perceiving through the senses? If you just sit without thinking about the scene, without giving attention to the seer, without understanding or trying to give attention to seeing, just is. All three will disappear into one. That is called tatata. Now, no perception, no perceiver, no perceived. Tatata. Just sit. I am sharing few words, understand? Do not perceive, see, hear, smell, with any instrument like eyes, ears, tongue and skin. Don't differentiate between these three of seen, seer and seeing. Tatata. If the seer is there for a moment, let him be. The seen is there for a moment, let him be. If seeing is there for a moment, let it be. Just is. Seeing, okay. Seen, okay. Seer, okay. Just be. Tatata. Easiness. Just remember this one truth. Tatata. Easiness. And I bless you all to be in the easiness. Go beyond the seen, seer and seeing. Live and radiate enlightenment. Live and radiate the eternal bliss, Nityananda. Thank you.
I surrender to you. All that I feel